So before we begin, I just want to take a moment to do a quick land acknowledgement. The Hollywood Fringe acknowledges that we are on the unceded lands of the Tongva, Quiche, Gabrielinos, and Gabrielinos. Our statement serves as a practice as we commit to furthering our connection to the indigenous communities past, present, and emerging. Welcome to the Marketing and Ticketing Workshop. I am Carly Barnhill. I'm the Communications Director for Hollywood Fringe. My pronouns are she, her. I am a white woman with auburn hair. I'm wearing gold-framed glasses, a very bright green sweater, and jeggings, actually, but look like jeans. And yeah, we have some great folks today who will introduce themselves shortly. They're here to give their expertise, so ask them questions, listen to everything that they have to say. They have had very successful Fringe runs and have a lot of cool stuff to share. So before we get to their intros, I'm going to give very brief announcements. I'm going to speed through them, so bear with me. I do just want to acknowledge, like I said before, we are on a live stream. We're also recording this for our YouTube channel, so feel free to go back and refer. Hi, everyone on the live stream. Okay, so we'll start with upcoming workshops, town halls. Obviously, you're all here today, educational workshop. We have workshops and networking events all throughout the next few months. You've probably attended a few. You can always go to hollywoodfringe.org/events to see all of our upcoming events and add all of them to your calendar. Town halls are in person and live streamed, where Ellen and Lois over there will give you the download of everything you need to know ahead of Fringe. So we have had 2 already, and we have 2 more of those. Workshops and panels, like the one today, sometimes digital, sometimes in person, always live streamed, is where we have experienced Fringe veterans who share all of their best practices and everything on specific topics. So today, marketing and ticketing. We also have virtual web sessions, which I highly recommend you attend, where you can learn to navigate the Fringe website, which is so important for ticket sales and things like that as we get closer to the festival. So we have had 1 of those so far, and we have 1 more. I think it's April 15th or 14th. One of those. 15th, yes. The day after the town hall on the 14th, I think. But you can find all of that at hollywoodfringe.org/events. And then we have networking events, which is a hot topic in tonight's workshop because office hours begin this week, tomorrow, and happen every Wednesday going through the festival. So you may have attended some of our off-season office hours. If you haven't, I highly recommend you go to as many office hours events as you can. It's such a good event to meet fellow Fringers, network, make friends, start marketing your show, pass out postcards. Just a really good opportunity to start getting to know the community and get to know everybody who's going to be fringing alongside you. So highly recommend. Locations for the next 5 weeks of office hours are at hollywoodfringe.org/events, and we'll continue updating that as we go. Speaking of dates, I'm going to run through just really quick important festival dates to be aware of. So, of course, registration has been open since February 1st. The registration deadline to be listed in our printed guide is April 15th. So if you want to be listed in that printed guide that we distribute all around Hollywood, please register by April 15th. I will give more information about the printed guide as we go. So if you have any questions, hold them and we'll get to that soon because I have a whole section on that. Speaking of the guide, April 20th, your guide advertisements and your guide proofs must be finished. So this is the day that you have to have everything approved and uploaded. So April 20th is a super important date for the guide. May 1st, tickets go on sale. June 4th through 11th is previews. June 12th is our opening night party at LA LGBT. So we don't have any shows on June 12th. June 13th through 30th is the festival, and July 1st is awards and closing night. Like I said, you can find all of that at hollywoodfringe.org/events. We'll continue to send updates in our weekly newsletter. And if you are already registered, you should be receiving our weekly participant newsletter, which comes out every Wednesday. So if you are not registered, you'll start getting that once you do. And if you are registered, anyone that you add to your project page on your show will start getting the participant newsletter as well. So we have everything about advertisements, marketing, upcoming events, just a little bit in a little bit more detail than our general newsletter that goes out. So make sure to add your teams if you want them to receive our newsletters. Okay, so really quickly on our code of conduct. We don't have many rules at Fringe, but we do take our code of conduct very, very seriously. So if you register as a project, you and your team are held accountable for your actions as you participate in the festival, as you should be in any professional environment you choose to take part in. So please read our code of conduct in full at hollywoodfringe.org/conduct, and please, please share it with your team so that everybody knows what we're all about and the types of things that we take very seriously. Okay, that's it for general announcements. That was like 6 minutes. That's kind of a record. So, oh yes. Quickly, the cafe is about to close, so if you do want to keep your coffee, thank you. I totally forgot to mention that. Okay, so make sure you're signed up to receive emails. Like I said, sign your teams up if you want them to receive participant emails. Follow us on social media. Use hashtag HFF24. Email support@hollywoodfringe.org if you have any questions as you go. And I've talked long enough, so let's introduce our panel. Full disclosure, I work on the Hollywood Fringe staff. I have never produced a Hollywood Fringe show. So these are your experts when it comes to everything about producing. And I'm here to help guide that conversation and also help with resources like our printed guide and events and things like that. So let's start with introductions. If you all could share your name, your pronouns, your visual description, and just a little insight into your background and experience, what you've done at Fringe, whatever you want to share. Whoever wants to go first.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin. I won a Hollywood Fringe scholarship in 2021 and had packed and sold out houses the entire time I did it. On the side, I teach theater and juvenile lockup facilities, and I'm a digital media marketing consultant. And that's really, I think that nutshell, that's who I am.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ruby. Can you hear me? Okay, cool. I'm Ruby. I won a scholarship 2 years ago, and I did the Ramon show. It was an immersive show, and then I did another Ramon show later. Ramon's my drag king. Oh, right. My name's Ruby, pronoun she, her. Yeah, and Ramon, he, him. So I did 2 years in a row. Love, love, love Fringe. And what was the other thing we were supposed to say?
Your visual description.
Oh, my visual description. Today, I got my hair in a bun, up a bun, right? And a cheetah print jacket and a white hoodie and gray, sweaty sweatpants. Higher? Okay. Can you hear me better now? Okay. It's hard to describe yourself and make sure you're not putting your mouth all over this microphone. Okay. Juggling a lot. Gray sweatpants and black sneakers.
Hi, my name is Jared Pixler. My pronouns are he, him. I am a white male with dark hair, glasses, wearing a blue jacket that buttons up, black jeans, and black and white sneakers. I have been part of the Hollywood Fringe Festival since 2013 when I graduated from my undergrad. We put on a show, and we've been doing it almost every year consecutively since, from one-person shows to large casts, and we've had shows transfer to New York off-Broadway and tour, so happy to be here.
And then my pronouns are he, him, and a visual description of myself is that I am a light-skinned man with afro, wearing black jeans, like a button-up shirt, short sleeve, and black tennis shoes.
Thank you. Okay, cool. Let's start with ticketing. So we'll get into the logistics and how-tos on ticketing and comps at our April 14th town hall, but I want to ask some more general questions about that. Quick note about selling tickets. 50% of your tickets must be sold through the Hollywood Fringe website. So half of your house size must be available on the site. You can use third-party platforms if you want to. I just want to note that we give 100% of your ticket sales back to you if you sell them on the or regardless. So 100% of ticket sales on our site go back to you. Some third-party platforms take a cut of your tickets, so just be aware of that as you think about other places that you might sell your tickets. But just note, 50% must be sold on our website. Okay, so ticket prices. Let's start there. Average ticket prices. The average ticket price at Fringe is generally around $12, depending on cast size. How do you set your ticket prices, and what do you recommend for folks who aren't sure how to set their ticket prices?
I do. I'm a bit of an outlier, and I think that one thing that I'll say with the process is that do what's right for you. When I did my show, it was a solo show, and I set my ticket prices at $15, but then I would implement strategies of ticket discounts to drop that price anywhere down from $8 to $15, but allowing that top end of 15. One, demonstrates your value, that you feel that it's valuable, but then it also allows you to create wiggle room, and giving comp tickets, which we'll talk about later, is good too. But when you can show value and then also create a discount, it creates a incentive for people to buy those tickets now, right? And so that's a big thing that I'm a proponent of, is $12 to $15, create discount codes so that you can lure people in as you start to be like, oh, we're getting closer to the show. Let me drop it down so I can get the strags.
I also agree. Charge 15. This is LA. You can't see a movie for less than $15 now, right? Yeah. You are probably have invested more than most people have in their improv shows, and improv shows are like $10 now. So I would say 15 is the minimum. Yeah, especially if you're a solo show producer. Have those discount codes. Give comps to fringers. Make sure that you pack your house, but like honor yourself. And your friends and family can afford $15. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to echo that. Go for 15 or more if you're a larger show, an ensemble show. You can discount down to $12, but don't sell yourself. If I see a show that's like $5, I might actually be a little bit less inclined to go because I'm not sure of the quality or work that's put into the show. You can also dynamic price a little bit too, like discount your preview, get that word of mouth, have people come, and then bring your price back up to what makes sense. If you're a numbers person like I am, like you'll run the total cost of your show, the total number of seats, and know, okay, like if I want to break even, this is what I need to average. But that doesn't mean that needs to be your ticket price. One of the things that we've done, I think we did this last year, is we had a I can afford more ticket that was like $35 for people that could afford more. And then for people that couldn't, we did like a pay what you can or like a $10 ticket. So those are things you can think about. You be nimble with your ticket pricing strategy.
I think I want to piggyback on what you said too. I think going into the production process, it's really important to look at the size of your house, your ticket price, estimate that you will fill 40% to 50% of that house every single night. And then if you aren't breaking even or getting close to breaking even with that ticket price with your house size, then your ticket price needs to go up or down, or you need to work harder on your marketing strategy so you can get above that 40, 50. But if you're, don't expect to sell out every night, because you might not. And if you base your ticket sales and your projections on a sold out house, you could end up disappointed when it doesn't sell out one night, or you could be surprised when you do sell out and you budgeted it at 40, 50% of your sold house.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. I think it's also important to set the expectation for yourself and your production too. Is this something that we need to break even on, or is this something that we're going to work on later, or is this something that like I'm doing for fun for me as an artist? And then how important is it as far as what the ticket price is? Do you just want an audience? Like if that's your goal, then set the price so you get the audience.
This is such a great panel because they've already started to answer my second and third questions. So I want to start just with discounts and comps. How do you go about comps? Do you have a bunch of different comps? Do you typically do discounted tickets for just previews to entice word of mouth like Jared was saying? How do you go about that process?
I typically am on the line of. Ask the question again.
So when it comes to comps, like what's your strategy for offering comps and discount codes? Do you do it during previews to entice word of mouth? Do you have specific groups that you create comp codes for? How do you go about that?
Okay, yeah. So definitely, I'll start with comps because comps is kind of a really big thing, especially at the Fringe that we can get carried away with. You want to make sure you're not comping all of your house, right? Especially as you get further into it. That first preview night, that's where you want to put most of your comps because that's where you're going to get word of mouth, right? That's how your show is going to spread. If you wait until later to get especially fringers in your seats on that first night, you're going to struggle to pull an audience later because the Fringe community is the community that's coming to all the shows, who are telling their friends to come see a show with them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And this is from my personal experience, actually. I had like 75% of my opening night on my first show was all my friends. And then I had to work really, really, really hard to get a good house on the second show date because nobody was talking about my show. So I had to go and do a lot of personal ask text messages to fringers. And if I had just done a little bit more Fringe networking in the beginning and given the tickets to those people, then I feel like I would have had an easier time. I still had good house sizes. It just took more work. As for discounts, yeah, definitely discount your preview because everybody's got a preview and everyone wants somebody to be at their preview. So get people in there early. And then my strategy is always kind of keep it, you know, at the price that it's at up until you start to hit like 3-4 days from the show, 2 days from the show. The thing about people in Los Angeles is they're always going to buy tickets last minute. Right, and so your ticket sales might go from, if you have a 40-seat theater, you'll have 15 tickets sold on Tuesday. Your show's on Wednesday, hypothetical. By Wednesday afternoon, you might now have 35 tickets sold because people just buy last minute. And so you also, you know, getting those discounts in a little bit later allows you to get in a little bit more on your return there. Yeah, and then just, you know, I have like different groups, like, you know, you guys, your Fringe friends, you know, 10% off the Fringers is
So you can do the Lois, the participant discount for other Fringe, it's
$1.
$1 off, correct?
So the community,
Right. So yeah, this does get a little complicated. There's two kinds of tickets that are discounted. So the discount with the community button price, it'll say community on the website. That is the Fringe button price. That is an automatic $1 off. It's already in the artist agreement. Everything is $1 off with that button. The participant discount means a registered participant or somebody on your project page. So your team, when they are logged in, that means they get the discount attached to participant discount. Yeah.
And so your Fringe fan people, I do like a nice little discount for them too.
And there's not, you've probably heard Lois and Ellen say this in town halls, there's not a limit for the number of discount codes that you can create, or at least nobody has tested that yet. So you can create as many as you want. If you want to make your mom feel special, you can put her name as a discount code. You can do anything you want. So that's just something to keep in mind.
I did not do this the first year. I did this the second year after Bonnie. He told us to do this at another panel. She had different discount codes so she could see what groups and where people were coming from. So like, you know, I might do like Cinco for like, I don't know, my yoga community, and I might do Diez for my improv community. Like figuring out your group and like what you think they might be able to afford and then making discount codes for them. I'm also a very big fan. I did not do this. I'm starting to do this for my shows now that I've tested them at Fringe. Pay more at the door. Like if you buy early, it's 20. If you wait to last minute at the door, it's 30. You know, I don't know if you can do that on the website. I don't know if there's a way to adjust for like last minutes or at the doors. There are? Oh. Uh-huh.
You'd have to turn off the tickets about a half an hour before.
Okay. To make it be more at the door? Okay. Yeah. So that's a strategy, and that is a good marketing thing I learned in a literal marketing class I'm taking right now. Where like
Very smart.
people love a deal, and maybe they won't show up, but you still got that cash money. So, yeah.
All things I would do and have done, tracking the discount codes. The only thing I would add is that as a producer, reserve comp tickets for every show and make sure that you have some available, because you might run into someone that you want to come to your show that you need to have a ticket for. You can always sell it at the door. You can always release it. But reserve a couple of tickets for yourself each show as the producer for special guests. And I'd also say, like, one thing that we do is if I'm doing an ensemble show, my cast gets comp tickets. They get like 2 each just to have their friends and family come. A lot of their friends and family will come more than once. So give them that comp. If it gives you an audience, but don't load them all in a preview. That's a very, very good note. Yeah.
And take advantage of comp swaps. You'll hear that a lot as you're at office hours. People will ask if you want to do a comp swap. That'll help get people from the community into your show, and then you get to see a show too, if that's something that you want to do. So,
on that note, these people that you're giving comps to, not only will they give you comps, they are writing reviews for you, and the reviews are gold. And they will also be promoting you word of mouth. And as we all know, there's nothing better than word of mouth. I've literally just been hanging out at Fringe Central, and somebody's told me about a show, and I'm like, oh, really? I'll go check that out. Because for whatever reason, I didn't see them at one of the meetups, and then I just heard their show was great, and then I went to go see it. So don't be about those comps with other fringers.
Yeah. Also, you had mentioned holding comp tickets, so not selling your entire house is actually another thing to add on. If you have a house of 40, I would keep 35 tickets sold online, because you also, during the process, you'll have I don't know what the word is, award presenters, or what the awards part of the Fringe. You might get a representative.
Yeah, our Discover Fringe, our industry.
Yes, thank you. The industry program. You might need to have tickets set aside for them. But if you forget and you have 40 tickets sold on a show, and they're like, this is the only day that I come, well, now you don't have tickets for this opportunity for you. And the same thing could go for press or, other types of special guests.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk expectations and audience size. So you all have kind of touched on that. I want to go into it a little bit more. How do you set your own expectations when it comes to filling your house and audience size? And how do you use those expectations when you're picking a venue, when you're budgeting for your show, when you're budgeting for marketing and things like that outside of the actual production? How do you set those expectations?
I'm a solo producer, so I like 50 as my house size. I like when I've sold out, and then people are like, I tried to come to your show and I couldn't. And I'm like, you should get that ticket next time early, son. Don't know what to tell you. But I'm one person, so I also don't want to be overwhelmed with trying to get people over and over in. Last year, I only had 2 shows because that's all I could afford. And people came, and like both my shows were almost sold out each time. And then the year before, I did, I think, 6 shows, I want to say. And I did make the mistake. My show was a drag show. I didn't realize what day. There's 3 prides in LA. There's West Hollywood Pride, Hollywood Pride, and LA Pride. And I had my show on an LA Pride and a Hollywood Pride day. So those days were not super well attended. So make sure you know your audience. Like, is there a holiday this day? Or is there something that might conflict, and try not to have your shows on that day. But know how much, you want to. My show's an intimate show, so it works better 50 and under. Maybe your show would work better with a lot of people, and you have a huge cast that they have a lot of people they want to bring in. So think about what kind of show you have, how much people will be bringing in their own people. It's a lot of work to have 6+ shows. I think less is more. I think then you can also become like a little buzzy. People are like, oh, you only have 4? God, I got to figure out when to see you. If someone's like, I have 10 shows, it's like, okay, like I'll find a time to go see it,
I would also add, we're probably a little bit past this point for some of you, but consider your venue and your show and how they match. talking about audience size. When I've produced a solo show or done a musician, we've done it at like the 3 clubs because that was the vibe of their show. That's what matched their show. We've done a show. We did a show at a really big space, one of the iterations of the Hobgoblin one year, because it was a very large space and large stage. We've done it in smaller 50-seat or 40-seat theaters because it was a more intimate, like 2-person show. So I think of who's in the show and what the vibe, what the feel for the show is, and if it matches, but then tempering my expectations to go, okay, will we be happy if there's 10 people? Is kind of what I always use, is like 10 people. I always hope for and expect more, but sometimes there's only 10 people in the theater. And if you have a good show and you enjoyed it, then that's what's at the end of the day for yourself and your performers the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of pretty much just echo everything they said. I think that I am a very ambitious person. So I will be like, we are going to sell out every single show, and it is going to be amazing, and then it's not going to happen, right? One show is going to have 30 people, not 40, 45, right? And then just being able to temper, whatever the word is for that description, those expectations when you are a little disappointed, just do some breath work and be content, because you know what? It's fluctuating, and just because you have one bad house, quote unquote, against your expectations, because no house is a bad house, like you said, performing to an audience of 10 people, theoretically, that actually means that 10 people got to get that much more of you, right? And so I think that that's something also to consider, where they now go and now they had a wonderful experience, and then they're going to use their word of mouth, which is, you take anything away from me today, I say word of mouth is one of the number one things that you want to be focusing on at Fringe through the networking and everything. And so that person who had a really fantastic experience is going to go and tell other people about it. And then it's also an opportunity for you to sit down and like talk to that audience afterward, right? Use that as an opportunity instead of looking at it as something that went wrong, because nothing can go wrong in Fringe, yet everything will go wrong, right?
Remind them to leave a review. Always remind them to leave a review, even if it's one person. I've been to a show where I was the only person in the audience. I left a review. It was a really good show. No one just was able to see it. The shows did better after that. I'm not saying it was because of my one review, but leave a review. Encourage your people who come to leave a review at the end of the show, at the beginning of the show. They need to hear it 3 times. If they're not Fringe people, at least.
If you go to a show and you get a review from another Fringer and you see their show, leave a review. Review for review. All right? Peer review. Okay?
Cool. Important, as you can hear. So we're going to transition to marketing now. I'm going to do a quick spiel about the printed guide. So when it comes to marketing, we market the festival as a whole. You market your individual productions. There are ways that your productions can be seen more through some of the things that we do, which I'll get to in the guide, but we are responsible for marketing the festival and getting people to come. So we do that through, we have signs on the poles and streetlights around Hollywood. We send out press releases. We get partners in the area involved with the festival. But most importantly, we get our printed guide into very many local businesses in the area. So the printed guide is a book. It's 100 pages of basically how to Fringe. So every single show that registers by April 15th will get a listing in the printed guide with your show, your dates, a short description. You will be in the printed guide if you register by April 15th. So if you're not registered, make sure you do it by April 15th, because that guide will be in coffee shops and bars and restaurants and businesses where people who are not in the Fringe community will take a look through and learn about your show. You can also purchase ads in the printed guide, and this is the only way to get your actual show imagery or branding in the guide. So the listing that you get as part of registration is just copy, but you can get your branding in there by purchasing an ad. So guide ads start at $125 for registered participants, and I just want to make it clear we do not make money off of this. The guide ends up paying for itself. So just know we do this solely to help you promote your shows. We're not making money off of your ads. So you also can have the very coveted back cover or the inside cover or the centerfold as ad space. So we run a premium auction for those spaces for those who have already purchased a guide ad, which starts April 23rd and ends April 27th. So if you've purchased an ad, you'll get an automatic email that tells you how to enter that. So stay tuned for that if you purchase an ad. So, like I said, April 15th, register by then to get your listing in the guide. Super important. That means you've booked a venue, they've made a deal on the Hollywood Fringe website, and you've paid your registration fee. That is what you need to have done by April 15th. Then, 5 days later, on April 20th, you have to have your proof for the printed guide listing complete. And don't worry about what that means now because you're going to get lots of emails, but just make sure you're checking the participant emails that we send out because we will be sending your proof to those emails that you have registered on your project page. And if you don't respond by a certain date, we're going to print what we have on the website. So we'll send all sorts of proofing information. Stay tuned. Just make sure you're registered before purchasing your ads, though, because you get a 50% off participant discount on the listed guide ad prices. Digital ads are also an option on our website. If you've seen, when you've gone to our website, you've probably seen shows advertised all over the site. You can get those anytime leading up to the festival. So all of this can be found at hollywoodfringe.org/market. And we have all sorts of cool templates and things at hollywoodfringe.org/ads. And we have Canva templates, which is a free design software that I recommend you use for marketing materials. I am not somebody who knows how to create nice marketing materials, and I love Canva because it makes it so easy for me. So I highly recommend Canva. You can make postcards, social, all that kind of stuff too on Canva. So highly recommend you take advantage of Canva if you haven't already. I know. Canva, please. Okay, and don't forget to check out the participant packet for discounts if you haven't already. So we have discounted graphic design services by Chris Anatone, who can help you with postcards and posters and ads and all that kind of stuff. We have 2 local print shops, Minuteman Hollywood and Arnold the Printer, which can give you discounted printing. We have social media or special media packages from NoHo Arts District. We have event and marketing opportunities with LA Female Playwrights Initiative and publicity packages through Combined Art Form and Theater Asylum and so much more. So make sure to check out your participant packet with all of those discounts before you make any moves on anything because you'll probably find a very helpful person or business in there that will be able to give you discounts. So, yes. That's it on the guide. If you have questions, sorry, just for the live streamers. Thank you, Lois.
Sorry. Yeah. Hi. I just have a question about the reviews. Are they on the website? Is that where people make the reviews?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone who goes to your show can leave a verified review. So, yes. And it'll show up on your show page so that when you're going to see a show, you have reviews that have been left for it. So it's a very helpful tool in, many ways.
Is it still like how the most recent reviews kind of like populate in the review section?
Is it?
So if you go to Hollywood Fringe reviews, it kind of like shows like people that have reviewed recent shows, and there's like a list of them. Is that still a thing? The feed? Okay. Yeah. That's why I asked you.
We'll let you know. Okay, so back to our panelists. Let's talk about marketing budget. How do you factor marketing into your overall budget? Is it a small percentage? Is it a large percentage? What are you spending on marketing percentage-wise?
That would assume that you did a budget. Some people do, and some people don't. And I did not my first year. I would say, though, 60% at least 50 is marketing in some capacity, whether it's, I also don't know graphic design. So paying a graphic designer, printing. My partner does vinyl and wrapped my car with my show on it with my Hollywood Fringe. Yes. I did pay for the materials because it's a car. That was $500. I did not have to pay for the labor. But if that's the route you go, like, just find a way to stand out, because last year that show that had the bracelets that they handed out, Yoni, yes, that was memorable, and I still have those bracelets and I wear them and I think of their show. So find a way, and you don't have to spend that much. It could be like a pencil with your show on it, but something that's related to your show. I had stickers with a QR code. Make sure that you do the QR code through Adobe. Do not do it through another site, because then after you get a certain amount of scans, they will freeze your account until you pay them. And yes, pirates. So make sure you do it on Adobe or another place where it's free. But that way people could see, it was like an evergreen of a QR code, and people could scan it and find out about my Hollywood Fringe show. You know, get clever and find a way to stand out, because how many shows are there every year? Like at least 300?
Couple hundred.
Yeah. Yeah. So
we announced that after, so.
Say it again.
I don't know this year yet because we announced that after the festival, so.
Right.
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds.
But make sure that you have a healthy budget for marketing, because as important as it is for you to rehearse and get the right costumes and props, if no one knows about your show, no one's coming. And you want to make sure people know. And send out an email, a save the date, hit up Instagram. Like, I've gotten most of my audience from text messages and Instagramming. And that just happens to be like where my crowd lives. Maybe some other people have it on Facebook, or, are good at email or TikTok. Yes. But use everything in your capacity. And if you're like, I'm really good on LinkedIn, great, use it. People come to shows from LinkedIn.
I'll add on to that. If you are a budget numbers person, probably if you were doing out of Fringe, if you're doing a full real world production, you're thinking like 30% of your entire $300,000 budget is marketing. Minimum, we're at Fringe. So 60% is probably pretty accurate, because we're getting a lot of good deals on rental of space. We're maybe sourcing our own costumes. Lots of times we have volunteers doing the show. So our total budgets are going to be a lot more than a regular production outside of a festival. So 50%, that could mean like $1,000, $1,200 is probably a nice, healthy Fringe marketing budget. It also doesn't have to be that, because every show is different. It could be $300. It could be $100. It just depends on how much pavement you're willing to put beneath your feet out there talking to people, and how creative you can be with what you get printed. If you go the printed material route for postcards or online ads or printed ads, or how savvy you are with content or marketing creation on social media. So it really is a mutable number, but I think like 60% is probably not a bad idea for a Fringe production, because you really want to get people to come see your show. That's the kicker right there, I think.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going after you because I operate on a pretty minimalistic budget marketing wise, because I primarily use social media because it's free. So many of us are on it. And during the Hollywood Fringe Festival, you're at office hours and you meet all of us, and most people are on some form of social media or another. And so I just exchange follows and then just post all day long, so that I'm constantly at the top of people's brains. Now that has to be combined with really, really efficient in-person networking, which is something that I am really good at, right? Because I'm a charismatic person and I listen and blah, 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 But I think that what really helped me, my entire marketing budget is, I think I spent like $200 on flyers. And that's after I found out. I'm so sorry. This is a little. I'm gonna share it out. Like, if you go to Walgreens and print your posters on like photo paper, it's like $80 cheaper. It's cheap, and so I just did that, and it worked for my show though, because my show, it was a photo of me, right? And so I was able to make that kind of pass off. If you have like very graphical images, it might not work, but yeah, definitely, you can do it. And then I ended up buying the Fringe drink thing as well, so I did spend like an extra $200, but that's just because I wanted to have a drink called the Monkey Brain at Fringe, and I thought it was cute. So definitely, I think we're talking about just budget right now, right? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's it. I got on budget.
Cool. Great. So I feel like we were kind of starting to talk about out of the box ways that you go about marketing. So any creative ideas, any things that you've done that you felt made your show stand out, kind of like you were saying, Ruby? Anything that you recommend, or stories that you can share of things that you've done or you've seen?
One year, someone did slap bracelets. It was awesome. I could not stop playing with it.
I'll have mine.
I definitely saw the show, but any little kind of thing that fits your show's aesthetic or what your show is trying to do is gonna do really well. When we did our show, the video games, we handed out glow sticks, and there were just like glow sticks everywhere, because it was a part of the interactive element in our show. But people have done all kinds of different little giveaways. For a while, buttons were, I don't think I saw as many last year, but buttons were really popular for a while. Everyone did buttons and collected like show buttons. That was really fun to wear those around.
Yeah, jewelry's fun, stationary's fun. Like we're all saying, like make it what's related to your show.
Wrapping your cars.
Wrapping your
fun.
cars, fun. It's still on my car. Yeah, it's withstood all the rainstorms 3 years in a row. Yeah.
Hi guys, I'm Jen. I'm a venue manager, but I've also produced every year at Fringe. So one of the things that we always do, the buttons and handing out any swag, fantastic. But we also always put a little tag on whatever we're handing out after a show that says, "Please review my show," and it has the URL on there. So if you're going to hand something out, give them an incentive to write you a review.
Yep. Bookmarks, anything. There's so many things you can.
Trading cards.
Trading cards.
Like, it is Fringe. Fringe means strange, right? Yeah, I think that's how that translates. And so that means think outside the box. There's I think the word fringe literally means like out of the ordinary. Right? And so there is a world where nothing you can do can go wrong. I've seen condoms. I've seen candy. Yeah. I've seen little piggies that when you squeeze them, poop comes out. Like, so many different things that you can do. Yeah, disgusting. It's so gross. Why would you do that? But it's
to stand
cute.
out and
to
be
stand
memorable.
out. And to me, I personally I would never, and I never say never because now I'm going to do it tomorrow. But I'm not a person that would do something like that. But I know I'm like, even for the shows that I didn't see that handed out those swag, I know that show to this day that it was at Fringe, that people loved it because they handed out the interesting things. And I think that for, like I said, I live online. So I'm pretty much digital all the time. And so what I did was I just did Instagram lives and Facebook lives throughout like at least once or twice a week, talking to other fringers, be like, hey, Ruby, you have a show? You want to jump on Instagram live and talk about how our shows are alike and how everyone should come see our shows? Well, now I've activated my audience. We've activated her audience. And Instagram and Facebook are now pushing out more video preference on their algorithm. So if I go live, I'm first. And people are going to click on it. And especially since I just met you and you and you and you. And you're like, oh, what's Kevin doing? Oh, that's that guy I met at the office hours. What's he talking about? And then when they see you, they'll be like, oh, I saw you on Instagram. right? And it like helps you activate not only your audience, but then I'm now connected to her audience and his audience, and it is a massive help.
And you can do that with like, oh, this is a show at the venue that's after me, so we're going to do an Instagram live together and promote each other. Or the first year, all scholarship winners, we kept doing little things together to promote the show, like come see the scholarship shows, you know?
Yeah, I guess this is a wild thing. I did a cross promotion thing where we had like planned for a week where this woman named Veronica had a trans show called Trendsetter, and I was doing Versatile, and our shows were like 10 minutes apart, okay? But we were determined to get my audience to her audience and vice versa. So what we did was we packed my house, stopped the applause, and said, okay, everyone, we have cars outside, get in a car, we're driving to studio stage, and we're going to go see Trendsetter. And it worked, right? We created a little caravan, and it was really fun.
All of those things. A field trip. That's so great. The other thing you can do too, if you're not a person that likes to go live, but you want to use social media, we did a scavenger hunt last year, which we kind of launched a little bit late, where we had trading cards for our shows, and if you collected 4 of them and just tagged us on social holding the cards, we gave you a free ticket. And we got I think 8 or 9 people that were actively really looking for them, and my team and myself, we just had them on us at Fringe Central, and we would give people cards. That's a fun way that we activated social media, where maybe people didn't want to go live or that wasn't their thing. There's all kinds of ways to use social media as a marketing and to create content. The two can be the same, but they are not always too. So just be aware of that.
And if you're not a social media person, in person's the best. This is Fringe. Talk to people. And I am a very shy person. My drag king is not, but Ruby, I'm like, this is so terrifying to go into a bar and talk to a bunch of people about your show. So if you are like, I can't do that, come up with an alter ego and send that person on your behalf, or have an actor from your show go in. It doesn't have to just be like you all the time doing it. It can be, I brought a friend. Somebody last year I saw bring 5 of their friends to one of the office hours. And I was like, oh, God, that's so smart. So I called my girl who's a social media marketing person, and she was just handing out postcards and pointing to me and be like, you got to see her show. She's my friend, you know. And it worked. She talked to a bunch more people than I could have. Yeah.
My ex-boyfriend actually came to Fringe every day during 2021, and people started calling him in my little Fringe circle, and my Fringe circle was pretty massive because I was I don't know, active in the community, right? Which is what you have to do. People were like, oh, he's the Kevin's first lady of Fringe, and he got that little nickname, and it actually helped me sell tickets because he was there and people would recognize him, and he would go and promote Ruby's show, right? He would take my friends that I've met now and help support them as well. So cultivating that community. And then, I said earlier I'd never do swag. I take that back. The only type of swag I would do, and I haven't done it yet, but I need to, is get t-shirts, hats, anything like that, or even if it's just jewelry and wristbands. But the thing is if you're going to hand something out that someone's going to wear, it's marketing principle 101. Make it something that they want to wear, right? Make it not necessarily quality, but catchy. Someone like, oh, that's actually a really cool hat. Where do I get that? And then now they're sporting it and walking it around. No one wants to wear an ugly, spinny hat, or something like that.
Wear that.
She would. Yeah, of course she would.
And speaking of, I've seen a lot of people that just come to every office hours in the same shirt that represents their show.
Yep.
And then you see them over and over. And then when all the shows come out and you're trying to decide between so many shows to see, that's one of the ones that comes to mind because you've seen the person wearing that shirt every week. So think of things like that that will help you stand out. And I think that these are such creative ways to just, marketing is all about making sure that people think about you prompted by you, but making sure that you stay in people's heads. And so find ways to remind people that you're there and that your show is worth seeing over all of these other shows. I would also say with giveaways and things like that, it's really, really helpful if it's something that somebody can easily put in their pocket or in their purse or something like that. Because when I see something that I can't fit on my person or in a bag or something, I'm reluctant to take it. So something small is always great. And same thing with postcards. Keep your postcards small. I think that it's really helpful when somebody gives me a postcard. If it's smaller, I don't need a full sheet flyer. That's a really good size right there. I don't need an 8.5 by 11 sheet. I'm going to end up folding that. And then when I go clean out my bag, I won't realize what that is. So small is definitely better when it comes to printed materials.
In the past, too, I've done like buy tickets to the show today, and everyone goes on a raffle, and then you get a free master class on solo theater. Right, that's another thing that I've done, and then I would be bemiffed. I don't know what the word is. To not mention like at office hours is also an opportunity to do like creative marketing stunts. Like Ramon, you're the king of this. Literally, you come up in your costume every time, and he is in Ramon, like he's Ramon, and then there's Ruby, and then there's Ramon. It's fantastic. But I've also seen people have like what do you call those things that you put pictures in? Frames, like a picture frame, and they have like the name of their show above it, and they're like, take a selfie inside of it. People bring in the puppets if they have puppets. Bring the elements and the energy of your show to the office hours.
Come in costume. The gem people kept doing that last year. It was so fun. And that's the other thing. It's fun, because you're doing this for a long time. And every week I was like, ooh, another gem person.
Speaking of office hours, I think that's a really good segue into the importance of office hours. And it can be a little bit intimidating going into a social setting with people that you don't know and trying at the same time to take all of these, market your show and get to know people and make friends. At least for me, that is very intimidating. So can we talk a little bit about entering a new community and trying to balance all of that, trying to juggle like making friends, being in community, and also marketing your show and the elevator pitch? If you have any tips on the elevator pitch to share, if you have an elevator pitch you would like to share, let's get into that.
You started smiling. You go first.
No, I don't. I was trying to think about elevator pitch. I don't even know. I can start. It's fine. Gosh darn it. We're talking about the importance of office hours.
Yeah.
I think the number one advice I would give for office hours is actually just come early, because not early to the event, but also, yes, that too, but come to the early office hours. Mm-hmm. That's the most important. So literally tomorrow, right? It's tomorrow. And the reason that I say that is because if you are somebody who is not as outgoing as the next person, it gives you an opportunity to warm up into the community so that by halfway through, you feel confident, you have some friends that you've been meeting, and like you have a little tribe that you can go around with, right? And then the truth is, and at least in my experience and what I've seen, is people come to like the last office hours. They're the most busy, right? And by that time, a lot of times you'll see little pockets of people who already know each other have already formed. And if you're not a part of that, it presents a challenge for you. And even if you stop by for an hour, say hi to a couple people, that's enough. You don't have to stay for the whole time,
Yes. Come early. Ask people first what their project is before launching into your own. And then actually listen.
Listening. Listen to understand others better.
Yes. And find out when their show dates are and start doing comp swaps at the office hours. And it feels really good to have someone, I got a ticket for your show. You got a ticket for my show. It starts building that momentum. You start getting your confidence up. Like I mentioned, I came as my drag king Ramon because I, Ruby, cannot think of anything more terrifying than entering a space where I know nobody and just going up and talking to them. But I would ask people about their show, and the elevator pitch is so important because it's pretty loud. It's a bar, right? So it's pretty loud. I always have loop earplugs so I can like drown out the sound of ice being dug out and drinks and clinky clangy sounds because it's hard for me. But the elevator pitch, I remember Die Lady Die just like launched into her elevator pitch, and it was so good that I was like, oh, I gotta see, I gotta see it. Mine, I can't totally remember. Oh, Mr. Rogers and Pee-wee's Playhouse was my show in drag. Mr. Rogers Gone Puerto Rican meets Pee-wee's Playhouse Gone Drag was my show.
Yeah.
And then last year it was like therapy but fun was the, it's like short, sweet. People are like, oh, what? Something that hooks them. If you tell them like more than 2 sentences about your show, it starts to, drone on a little bit because you're also hearing like 20 other people's stuff that night. So short, snappy. I do not believe that AI is good at doing this kind of stuff. I believe your comedy writing friends or marketing friends are probably better resources. But you can start working it out on AI or Grammarly and then, ask your friends what they think about it. Because my friends help me edit. They're like, that one's okay, but what about this, And they're on your side. They want it to be successful. So test it before you bring it to office hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to office hours. Ask people about their show. Bring a friend. Bring a couple friends if you need to. If you can't make it and you are fortunate enough to have a small team working with you, someone from your team can go. You don't have to go as the lead artist. Someone else from your team can go. A friend can go for you if you can't go. Because I know sometimes we can't always make it, but definitely do try to go. Have your elevator pitch. And I think that really know what your show is, because I think sometimes we struggle with that when we're working on a Fringe show. We're not always super sure what our show is, what our elevator pitch should be. So make sure that you've taken the time to work that out. Some of my I love the one that you just did. That's such a good one. But make it a sentence. Make it a really clean and clear sentence about your show.
Yeah. I think when you're in that networking space, I feel like I'm not that good at elevator pitches because I'm a pretty long-winded person.
Same.
As you can tell. But I would say for me, having my shows are pretty typically dramatic. So like I'd be like, my show is about myself growing up in foster care under the backdrop of Lion King, trying to figure out who the fuck I am, right? That would be my elevator pitch. And then below that, once I've then asked what their show is about, I actually have like a tier of like, it's like a little pyramid. All right. It's like, okay, here's the elevator pitch. Here's like, okay, it uses beat poetry and rap to tell the story. That's interesting. Okay, it uses the news cycle. Like I have projected video. Okay, that's here. And then down here, it's like, okay, now we're talking about like race theory. Okay. And now we're talking about like law and history of racism in America, right? And so there's like the little triangle that I have that I talk about at different tiers as the conversation gets deeper, so that I have those things like literally written out in a document because I'm obsessed and I have to do it. Otherwise I'm not going to be able to talk about it. So if you're somebody that's, gets a little anxious talking in front of people, typing out like a 1 page of your show, talking about the themes, its through line, what the purpose is, who your audience is, type all of that up so that you have it. Because then you know it, so that when you go into the space, you don't end up like me at the beginning of this, whatever this is called, a panel, being like, I don't know my name, And so, of course I did. I do great at everything I do. But definitely, like, the more prepared you can be, the better. And typing it up helps out, for me at least.
A great way to practice coming up with like a log line or an elevator pitch, go to IMDb and look at shows that you know and love. Breaking Bad has a very clear 1 sentence about what that show is. And then look to see what their ads were and what, the little blurb was that they put on their big, what are those things called? Billboard. Yeah. And that's how people, what's that word called? Billboard. Yeah. Kevin. But you'll start to see it if you start looking around. If you go to IMDb and then you can start practicing writing. You can even say it's this meets this, or this like this, but with this twist. There's just really standard ways that people do elevator pitches, and that's really helpful because, 1, we're already trained to know that, and 2, if you say 2 iconic things like Mr. Rogers and Pee-wee Herman, like people know what that is. They can bring it up in their mind, so then they're not totally lost about what your show is, and it's memorable. Or like with Die Lady Die, I remember she said like everything written about Princess Diana has been from a man's perspective. This is a musical written by a woman. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you.
And remember, there are so many shows. So when you're trying to figure out what to share about your show, just think about anything that makes your show different, and that's going to resonate with people. When they go home after office hours and they've talked to 100 people and heard about 100 shows, how is yours going to be at the top of their list that they're going to think of when they go to buy tickets for shows?
Yeah, an example. So I'm like doing I'm producing a show this year, and it's about a trans woman who is also a vampire. And so our like thing that we're like, hey, this is the thing that is interesting is we're like, this show tells a trans story through the perspective of someone that has to come out as a vampire, right? And so like that quick like, hey, this is what this show is, and this is what it does unique. It's telling a story that's been, we need to tell in a unique way, right? And then also you talked about ChatGPT. I want to name ChatGPT. I love her. Okay, and I'm a writer, I'm a marketer, I use her, but I don't use her for my writing. What I do is I'm like, I just want to talk at it and then be like, organize my thoughts, right? And it's a very helpful tool. Like she said, it can't replace human ingenuity, it can't replace a good marketing strategy, but what it can do is it can help you organize your thoughts, right?
And also see what other people are saying about you or your show. That's something I learned in my marketing class. Like, what adjectives are people using about you and your show? I went to do a show in New York, and they described me as West Coast drag king sensation. And I was like, oh, says who? You? Okay, fine. That's what I'm putting in all my materials now. I guess I am a West Coast drag king sensation. So, like, whatever adjectives people are using, that's yours. And that's what people are reflecting back to you about your work. So use it.
I would also add the elevator pitch is great, but this is another kind of marketing term. Know your blurb. Know the thing that is a little bit longer that explains what your show is. So once you've hooked them in with the elevator pitch, 3 sentences, maybe 4. It's that thing that usually goes on press releases. It's things that you'll put out a lot wider. Know your blurb. Know the what of your show that is not just the one-line elevator pitch. We're in the theater world, we do actually like a little bit more depth than the elevator pitch. So a lot of times you can start with a blurb and then find your elevator pitch from that blurb as well.
Also, when it comes to office hours, invite your teams too. You don't have to show up alone if you're a primary producer. Feel free to invite your teams, the people in your show, the techs on your show. Everyone is welcome. So invite everyone. So important that they're a part of the community too. So feel free to open it up to anyone who's on your team at all times. So we've touched a little bit on social media and digital. I want to go back to that really quick and just ask one question. Do any of you ever do paid social media, or do you only do just regular social media posting?
I did, and it did not work. I also am not a famous person, so I don't know. Like if it would work for somebody else. For Terrell, it worked because he was the one that told me to do it, and I was like, I got 0 bites that way. But I do think what the algorithm does like is if you do varied posts. So if you do like a reel one day and then a story one day and then a post, and then like this time when I'm doing my story, I'm asking people to vote on something, or I'm taking a poll, like to keep it different. And I recently heard in my marketing class, like if you go away for a little bit and then come back, like the algorithm rewards you by showcasing your stuff. And I was like, what? Dumb.
Rewards
Yeah, like so I don't know all that stuff. I'm sure I should be spending more time doing that. But Google whatever you need to Google in terms of like how do you get more seen on TikTok and Instagram if that's your thing. And if your community's not on there, don't bother, I think.
If you have a brand, I guess, that you're trying to have go further beyond Fringe, it might be worth it. For a Fringe style production, I've also seen very little reward for the investment unless you're willing to unless you have the content that is already kind of hitting a lot of views. Like if you have a content that is already kind of trending on your own page, say it has like 200 or 300 likes, views, interactions, then maybe it might be worth it. But social media is so fickle, and it really depends on your audience and who is following you on that platform and what that account that you're posting from is set up like. So there's a lot of things that go into the effectiveness of ads. I run them all the time, but we run them for long periods of time for follows and for purchases, for like when we're doing a show that is doing 25 performances over the course of 6 weeks. Then I see great results. I don't know about Fringe.
This is not related to paid ads, but I need to give a warning. Do not message too many people on Instagram or Facebook at once. I learned this the really hard way last time. Yeah, last time I produced a show, late last year, I sent out like probably 100 in the span of like 15 minutes, and I got banned. Not just for a couple of days. No, we're talking like 4 days. It was detrimental to my campaign.
But you know what? It worked because I went to your show.
It did work.
I did.
It did work, but it really hurt, and I was very stressed. Ads-wise, though, like I use ads very, 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 very sparingly. If I have a show going, I have an ad going. But we're talking like $10 a day type of situation, and it's very, very specific. So you want to be like, they're in Hollywood, they're on Instagram in Hollywood, adding Ruby here, and then here's the ad for the show. That didn't
happen, but yes.
Right, and age demographic, all of that. The more specific you can get, the better you can target it. That would be my recommendation. And then also if it's video content is always king. It's always going to do better. And definitely like Instagram like guides you to all their little tools like polls and links and all of the bonanza. Use it because it's there because they want to sell product and they're trying to sell that product. So if you help them sell what they're selling, then they help you sell what you're selling. At least that's like what the algorithm says to me while I'm sleeping.
Something that has been effective for me is the digital ad space on Fringe's website. I got a bunch, and then I forgot to turn it off, but people saw it throughout the year. So when I did a show the following year, they were like, oh, yeah, I saw your show's already up online. I was like, nope, that's a different show, but great to know that there's still, like, brand awareness, and many times I do different brand marketing campaigns. Like, they're not doing it for people to buy products. They're doing it for brand awareness. Another thing that's been very helpful is having my friends post on my behalf, people that have come to my show. In my show, I say you're allowed to take photos and up to 1 minute of video and post online and tag me. And that is a very good way to get a lot of content from your show. I did pay Dave to film every show, but, because it's an improvised show. So I was like, I want to see what's different every time. If you can't afford that, make sure that you invite your audience to take some footage for you, especially during previews, and really invite them to promote your show. I have one kind of famous friend, and they promoted for me, and people came and they're like, oh, my friend told me about your show. And, I later found out they're not friends. They're like social media friends, but I was like, whatever, it works for me. And the last thing I'll say is I did not find success using Eventbrite last year, but with my shows afterwards I have. So I don't know if it was just when I did it with Eventbrite, but Hollywood Fringe's digital space has been the most helpful for brand awareness outside of what we've all talked about. I can't really speak to other ticketing places like Broadway World and all that.
And as a reminder, you can get your digital ads anytime up through the festival.
Yeah. I think that another thing, it's not on ads, but when I'm posting and I have build a strategy, I have 3 to 4 different kind of categories of posting. We're talking vulnerability, behind the scenes, my team, people I meet. And then the number one non-negotiable that for me, if I'm in a festival environment, is someone else's show. I'm going to post for Ruby because it's the kind thing to do. And when you do that, you generate community, you get likes on your show, it varies your content, and it's still like promoting the festival at large, which in my experience helps you actually get more people to come in, because I'm promoting her friend, or sorry, I'm promoting her. Now her friend's like, who's this guy who tagged Ramon? And then they're like, oh, he has a show too, and now they're deep diving into my page, and they know who I am.
Okay, so before we get to Q&A, I have one more question, and that is, how do you decide who you are marketing to? Does your show content play a role in communities that you reach out to? And let's talk a little bit about marketing to fringers versus marketing to people outside of the fringe community and your personal circle and other community groups that you want to get in your audience that wouldn't otherwise know what fringe is.
I perform a lot as Ramon in music festival spaces and their comedy tents that they have. And so I would just reach out to them and be like, yo, you guys, I'm producing my own stuff. Please come help out your girl, you know? And the same with like my comedy friends. My yoga community they love anything that's live performance. So they're like very down for it. So reach out to people that, you know, I don't know, that is actually part of your everyday life, you know? I tell the Lana at the deli store, she has a deli store and I go to it, and she lets me leave postcards there. There's a coffee shop that lets me leave postcards there. And then they'll come and then they talk about it to their customers. So, you know, part of, I think, the fringe success, at least for me, has been being authentic and like, this is who I am and these are the people that I connect with. Because I'm a solo producer, I have not had the ability yet to be like, let me try and like create a bridge with like this outside theater community that I have no connection to. Like that has not helped me, you know. But if you are part of any other circles, they'll be so jazzed to support you. And, you know, you can even say like, I'm really scared that no one's going to come. If you could just like get a ticket and help me out. Or I told my brother to invite all his doctor friends and nurse friends, like really galvanize that support, because people do want to see entertainment. For fringers, just comp swaps, I feel like, is the best way, and being a kind person. Yeah.
I would say, so we have in one of the marketing classes I took really early on, we had a discussion about, you know, who's the market for Disney's The Lion King musical. And this is how my professor broke it down. The super avid fans, the people that are going to see it, love musical theater and love Disney. The people that might go see it are the people that love just one of the things. So people that love musical theater are people that love Disney, but maybe not both. And then the people that are outside of the circle are people that don't really have an interest in Disney or musical theater. So the people that are super avid, which is the people that like both, they're going to come. That's your fringe community. Those are your close friends and family. Those are people that you talk to. You give them your elevator pitch about the show. You do a comp swap. Maybe you do a marketing swap if you're doing a digital or printed program and you're like, oh, we'll put you in, or we'll put you on socials. Like we share program, like little program ads when we used to do a printed program. Now we do a digital one entirely, but we still share everyone's flyers. And then the people that are just like on the fringe, like they like one of the things that your show presents, like lean into that. We did a show one year that was very stage combat heavy and based off of video games. So I had two communities to reach out to. I reached out to my stage combat friends and community, Swordplay LA, and all the other gyms out there, got them to come see it. And then I went to like my video game bars and was like, hey, we have this live action like video game character battle to the death show. Do you want to come see it? That's what we did. We just found like where those interest points are. If it's a musical, we did a parody of Game of Thrones one year. So we did, we had a lot of, like, we leaned really heavily into, like, the LGBT themes in the show. So we did a bunch of promo in West Hollywood. We did a song and dance night at Musical Mondays at the Abbey. I think, well, it's at the Abbey now, but it was at a different bar before. Just know who you're talking to and talk to those people, find those groups. That's really, really, really important.
Yeah, I forgot. I did the first year I would say like, hey, after my show is this show, stick around for it. And so we would all do that for each other because I never had a printed program. You can also put in your end of the show when you have a QR code, like all the shows that are playing after me at this venue, and have that agreement with other ones ahead of time, other shows. And then the other thing we did when it was shows that were continuing on after the first Fringe run, we would announce like the other shows that are, say it again, what's that word? Extensions. Yeah, the other shows that are extensions are this, this, and this. And sometimes they'd be in the audience. And I would say at the end of my shows, like, if there's a Fringer here, stand up real quick, say the title of your show, hand out postcards outside. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
I find, like, for me, I don't know. Like, ask yourself, like, what do you want your audience to experience when they walk out? And I think that kind of becomes your key to who your target audience is, because then you're going to be able to find out who those people are. And I think a great example, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. Not only do you have like the people who are diehard for these two things, and then they like this or they like that. I think there's also a lot of shows that I've seen. They have multiple target audiences that you can target. You know, for my shows specifically, all of my theater is about being biracial, right? And so the funny thing is I'll have like a show with predominantly white audience members, and it's a different show. It's not even the same show. And then I'll have a show with predominantly BIPOC people, and that's a completely different type of show too. And then when you put them together and you do 50-50, that's also a different type of experience. And so I think also knowing like what are the different, what is the word I'm looking for? Like, not vacities, but like variances, if you will, in the audiences that you can pull in. Particularly like pulling Fringe people in. Honestly, I think there's like 3 or 4 different categories. There's like, is it a musical? Is it a drama? Is it a comedy? Is it Fringe cringe? Like cringe in a positive way. I mean, cringe in the best way. Like we go and watch this and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm watching this, you know? And I think that the Fringe community itself is so open to just about any experience that your target audience for Fringe is just Fringe, really, because we're all just loving each other. And like at the end of the day, you know, going back to networking and marketing and all that, this is such a friendly and beautiful community. Like I started as a scholarship winner. I didn't mention this before, but then I worked for the staff for a year and a half. And now I do other things with Fringe like this because I just can't leave no matter what I do. And so engage with the community because they are going to support you. They are going to uplift you. If you need help, ask for help, right? Because you're all here to have a good time. You're all here to make theater. And you're all here to support each other. And that's what this is all built on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can get with your other, like, okay, I'm doing a drag show. This person's doing a drag show. I'm doing a clown show. They're doing a clown show.
Yep.
I'm doing a dance show. Like, support each other. It's not competition. Like, no 2 drag shows are ever. I've never seen a drag show. I'm like, I've seen one like this before. They're all different. All Game of Thrones parodies are going to be different.
Okay, amazing. I know I said that was the last one before we get to Q&A, but I have one more very important question. I just want one quick piece of advice. It doesn't have to be marketing related, but just a quick piece of advice and or mistakes made or anything like that. Advice. What do you recommend?
Develop a self-care program now and have at least one day off a week before Fringe and during Fringe because you need it for your sanity. You need it for your mental health, and you really need it for energy. I am not someone that can see a show like 5 hours after mine. Like, I need to be in bed. I just have to be in bed. It's such an energetic, like, you know, just like a rocket blasting off, and then you feel like a little high after your show for a couple hours, and then afterwards I plummet. So know your energy levels, and do not commit to seeing other people's shows after yours unless you're very, very certain that you can, because it's a bummer. And I've done this before. I've been like, yeah, I'll come to your show after mine. And afterwards I'm like, nope, can't do it. Either people want to hang out, like people that came to the show want to hang out and go have a bite, or I'm just too tired. And then you have to send that message. I'm so sorry, I'm a jerk. Let me come to your next show. So know your energy and do self-care now and forever, but definitely during the Fringe.
Okay, I'll go. Millennial pause. Definitely. Oh, I just lost what I was gonna say. Hold on. It'll come back. It'll come back. Oh, things will go wrong. Not everything will go right. But it is never an emergency unless it's life or death. Unless someone's life is on the line, you will get through it. Things can go wrong. It's okay. You will still be here. The show will still happen. Or maybe the show won't happen that night. That's okay too. But just be okay with that. Like, it's not life or death unless it really is.
I think my piece of advice is the same as I just said, is really, really, really engage with the community, especially in the beginning, because the thing that happens is the fringers, we all invite our friends who then are like, oh, this is cool. Let me go see other shows. And then her not fringe friend is now going to come see my show. It happened to me on multiple occasions, even to the point where, like, I was at a bar and some guy came up to me and was like, Kevin. And I'm like, who are you? I don't know you. I've never met you in my life. He's like, I saw your show. And I was like, oh, cool. Great to meet you. And then we celebrated his birthday all night, right? But it brings in audiences not just at the fringe, but it brings in the larger, like, sort of, what is it called? 6 degrees of separation kind of situation. And then also don't, like, set a limit for each show on your comp tickets. If you have a 50-seat house, don't give 25 comp tickets because you might regret it later. You know, create some value on your show and give them out strategically, whatever that looks like for you. If money is important to you.
Cool. Okay, before we get to Q&A, quick announcement. We have a blog post up with opportunities for artists to market their shows through our festival programs. So we have our guide, and then we have a few other programs that you can get involved with. And so we have a lightning round. We have busking, which is new this year. We have cabaret. We have runway. We have poster drop-off. We have office hours running through the festival. So as we've said, keep your Wednesdays open. But we have all sorts of opportunities, which you can read about at hollywoodfringe.org/news on April 10th. Sorry about that. On April 10th, that will be available. Great. Okay, cool. So Q&A. Let's start marketing now. So let's say your name and let's give a quick, brief description about your show and let us know what your question is. We'll start here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Taylor. My show is Baby Rock. It's one of the scholarship winners for this summer. It is a bilingual children's musical. So my question is, especially given that ours is a children's musical, but going back to ticketing, I was wondering about concessions and like if usually people have like a different adult price versus children or senior or anything like that, or if you would recommend that or not.
Make those babies pay. I've never thought of that, to have a child, a kid price.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. How young?
It goes all the way up to like infant. Infant to 10 years old is the target age range. But
charge those infants.
I'd go with like the 3 and up rule. Like if they're over 3 years old, they could probably pay for a ticket, and it would probably be a lower ticket price. Is my thought, depending on your show's going to be unique in that respect. So I think that like maybe under 3, I just kind of go with like my old corporate days and go with my Disney rules. Like, oh, if they're under 3, then it's free.
Yes.
Oh, wow. A little insight. It was a long time ago, though. It was 2012. But we did not have different ticket prices for adults and kids. But I think that's right, though. Like, if they're babies, like, let them come in for free. But I will say, though, that, like, if you advertise it in the right places, it absolutely sells like crazy. And if you have good children-friendly show times, so you'll want to work with your venue about that. But, yeah, people are looking for live theater for kids. I would just say don't make your ticket prices, like, you want to make it affordable in the sense that, like, you want to think of, like, a group of 4 coming. and one person in that group of 4 is paying, right? So, but yeah, we didn't have different ticket prices, and it sold well. So, do that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like $10 for like a kid show kind of sounds about right, because like people got siblings, right? And then like, I don't know, and yeah, like if they can walk and talk, if they're walking and talking, charge a ticket, right? Like, what's your name? And then be like, all right, cool, $10.
Sure. I would say, yes, I would say do a little research to see what they're charging for kids shows. There are magazines out there, you know, with free magazines for parents to pick up, and you can see what they're charging and maybe get an idea.
Okay, question over here. Hi there, my name is Liza Daly Thomason. My musical is called Supernova, and I have 2 short questions. The first is, for scholarship winners, is it still 50% has to be done through Fringe or 100% through Fringe? Does it make a difference?
No, all like the same show as anyone else now. So same rules, 50%, and naming, like, you don't have to sell 50% elsewhere. We just want to make sure that option is available. But like 100%, no, most shows do put 100% on the Fringe website, so they don't have to. Because the key is, if you put it on another website, you best know how many are on that website and keep track, because if they're in 2 different places, we have seen that happen where houses are oversold, and yeah, so keep that in mind.
Did you have one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. And then when you were talking about the comp tickets, is it like actually like a little, because I guess my hesitation is, if I have a comp code at the very beginning, then like everyone kind of has access to that comp code, or is it like one for one, like you have little like personal physical flyers?
Listen, this is you can. This is how I did it, because I was pretty protective of my comps. Like you can do. I had free. Okay, we had free discount all the way down for like mom. You know, like I said, mom, just put a code in, or for something like that. But I put people's names in manually. And so the thing is if Ruby wants to see my show, I'm like, Ruby, we're comp swapping. And swapping. I always say comp swapping. And so I'm going to put her email in. She's going to get an email. It's going to give her the ticket. And she's going to do the same for me. And it's verified back and forth, right? Because the comps are, they're like in the will call area. So it's basically like leaving a free ticket at will call, I think. Yeah, right?
I can hop in really quick on this, just because this is a logistical thing. So yeah, like Kevin is right. Like you have the option, you can add someone in. You basically have full control over your ticketing. Like we will help on the Fringe end. Like we handle people who are like, oh my God, can I switch my ticket? Can I, change it for this night? Like we will kind of help handle the mess, the chaos of the audience. But you control what you do on your ticketing platform. So you can add someone's name to your comp list. You can give out specialized, if it is easier for you to not have to add people, you can say, here's your special discount code, and you're only giving that one out to some, to people you actually want to use it. It's up to you. I had something to say there and then I forgot.
You can also delete it, right? Like after a certain period of time. Sorry, you can after a certain period of time, like if I have freebie free, then I'll be like, all right, cool, that's there for 3 days. If you didn't get it, sucks to suck, right?
And all of this will be covered in detail at our ticketing web session and our town hall on the 14th and 15th of April. So like the actual like logistical how-tos, Lois will cover in those, which will be super, super helpful. Cool.
Hi, my name's Joe Coffey. The play I'm doing is called Bulger Boys. It's a Boston crime drama. The Departed meets Peaky Blinders. My question had to
see what he did there?
Actually, just got that from you. I scribbled it down.
All right.
I didn't have it coming in. My question had to do with playbills. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do you guys advise on QR code playbills or physical playbills?
I'm a solo producer. I did QR codes, but I put everything, like for my last show, I put everything in there. I put like, here's where you can leave a review. Here's where my future shows are. Here's where you can get on my email list. Like use that QR code to house all the information for your show, especially the leaving a review part. But you can, if you're just making it for your playbill, I've seen it that way and I've done it that way. When I get a piece of paper during a show, because it's like Fringe and everything's so chaotic, I tend to like put it in my sack, you know, and like never see it until the end of Fringe when I'm cleaning out my bag. I'm like, damn it, you know.
So I've done all of the different ways, and we've settled on, this is what I've settled on. We have a QR code. We give that out to everyone. It's either, if we have the opportunity to project it on the screen, so there's a projector in the theater, we'll project it on the screen. I will also have like a one-page foldable thing, because sometimes people like that, and if that is something they like and need, we have that. I also do print full ones as a accessibility issue for anyone who maybe isn't tech savvy, doesn't have a phone with the internet to do it, or like they just need something a little bit larger. I personally do 3 of those for our shows now. We don't print like 300 programs that are like 6 pages long. I print maybe 20 of them and always collect them afterwards, have a basket on the way out where they can put them, recycle, reuse those programs. As far as like if it's Playbill or if you make it yourself, that's really a personal choice. We used the Playbill software last year and I did not like it at all. It is not friendly in my brain. For me, we like to make ours like in Canva because I find it a little bit easier actually. But that's our experience. Yeah, Canva sponsor Hollywood Fringe.
Speaking of Canva, I also use Canva. But you know, for Fringe, I actually didn't even have a program, and that's wild, right? Like, I just didn't need it. I didn't feel like I was missing. I know when I like she said, like when I go to a Fringe show, I get so many of these things because you're seeing so many shows. It just gets thrown away. But at other shows, once I've done it outside of there, I have created like a QR code and like a web link where it kind of goes over like the research of the show and details of stuff so that people have resources to look at if that's of interest to you. But the Fringe Festival is so fast paced that I am jumping from Ruby's show to Lois's show within 15 minutes. And so I don't have time to sit there and look at the program in between. And I'm probably getting to the theater 10 minutes before it starts, right? And so on the bucket list of things to do, that's kind of like, all right, marketing, rehearsing, paying for shit. Okay, I'm going to get the playbill if I have time, right? So don't stress over it. In my opinion, that's just me.
I think you guys still have this where like each show gets their own HFF.co. Doesn't exist anymore?
No, but the link you have, so the project page, like tickets don't have to be unsold for that not to be, like that is still your link. That is your project page, your house, your end all be all. And you will also just on the note of like after the show, like, 'cause I know we were talking about reviews, the Fringe automatically sends out a email to everyone who purchased tickets on the Fringe website. Remember, I don't control, third parties. But so all of your audience who bought it on the Fringe website will get an automatic email that will be, hey, leave a review for the show you just attended. And then additionally, that will bring them back to your project page. So you do have that additional, like, if you don't have time for playbills, you have that additional, like, they're not going to forget to look at your show page again. Because I don't know, I'm someone like that. I see a show, I'm like, who are they? Now that I've seen the show and I'm interested, right? It's the IMDb kind of the game. So, yeah,
I had the project page on my postcards, too. So it was like HFF.co6426. I don't know. I might have made up that number. It was ingrained in my head during the time.
You can always Bitly, like you can always, there's like
Bitly.
third party places that you can make a shortened link. Although like it's, I will say hollywoodfringe.org/your project number. Like it's not a super,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Over here. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lily Abokratzley, and I'm doing my solo show, The Fairy Who Cried Gems, for Fringe. It is a collection of fairy tales inspired by the lived experiences of Indian women growing up in the U.S. And I have a question specifically about solo shows, and in particular, marketing solo shows on social media. do you find that when you're marketing a solo show, it's more effective to market on your own personal account, you know, Lily Abba-Kratzley, playwright and performer's solo show, or on a show, on an account specific to my show, you know, a Fairy Who Cried Gems account, by and performed by, you know, Lily Abba-Kratzley? Which would you say is a more effective strategy at marketing?
Yeah, I mean, I would say both, right? I failed at this when I tried to do this. I still have it somewhere on the internet, a show titled My Instagram, whatever, you know. And but I've worked with people who have done solo shows, and what we've done is we've done like, all right, cool, here's your solo show page, and everything that you're posting on your solo show goes here. And that's just basically a grounds for your personal Instagram to come and grab content from. And so I'm sharing the the posts from the show Instagram onto my personal story, so that way people see that I'm doing a show, they can follow the link to the show. But then also your personal connections and brand are also pretty, you know, they'll galvanize for you, you know, in most cases. And so I would say you should lean heavier on a personal side while building up the show side, so that one day you can just have the show side, which if you figure out how to do that, let me know, because I haven't.
I already had a page for Ramon before I started doing Fringe, so I had followers and all that, but I also have my own Ruby account, and so I also posted to both. I have seen some people like create a show page, and then there's like 3 or 4 photos up. Yeah, you gotta really do it. Otherwise, you're just like, okay, I don't think they're really committing to their show. It's like awkward. But then like Queen of Fishtown also has her Katie Rose page, and she's posting to both all the time. So, and there is a way where you can have it where like one posts to the other. Sometimes it will stop in the middle of a Fringe show, which is what happened to me last year. And Ramon couldn't post to Ruby, and Ruby couldn't post to Ramon. And I was like, why? If anyone knows, hit me up at Ramon Loves You on Instagram. But it should allow you in the beginning, especially if you're creating it from your own page, to like do posts vice versa. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you have anything, Jared?
I've produced a couple of solo shows, and my solo artists have always just used their personal page. We've never bothered creating another thing, unless it was one case we created the show Instagram, but like a year later, because the show was still going and it like needed one.
Okay. You have a question?
Hi, everyone. I don't know if this is working. Okay. Oh, hey, Dave. I'm doing a show called Cocktails. It's kind of an edgy show about when I went to a yoga ashram and my dad died, and I saw Elizabeth Gilbert writing like Eat, Pray, Love, and my life seemed like Eat, Pray, Sob. And then I met these guys for Cocktails, and that's what the show's about. It's R-rated, and I hope you guys come see it June 9th. It's a Sunday at 7. But any tips anyone has regarding marketing that's like out of the box? Like how do you guys get reviewers there? Is there, in the NoHo Arts thing, is there any things you've tried where you're like, wow, that's surprisingly simple? Or like, oh, this is a way to reach this person? Because it's like no one listens to voicemails anymore. It's such a weird... like, it's a weird age of reaching people. Like, how do you reach people to market yourselves successfully?
I believe there are, is it so-called discovery night? When there's like press and people.
Oh, Discover Fringe.
Discover
yes.
Fringe.
Our arts industry.
Clearly,
program.
we need to work on the branding.
Which we will be sharing more information about, but it's our arts industry program that gets folks from arts and entertainment organizations into the Fringe Festival. So we will be releasing more information about that soon.
And I would also say have your preview show and have it early. Mine was one of the first ones, the first year I did it. And thank God somebody came and wrote about it. I didn't even know to reach out to them or to have them, but it was just like the first 6 o'clock show on that Thursday. And so they came in and wrote a really lovely review that I still use to this day anytime I'm doing a show. But I think last year I went to that event and had a few people come, and it was great. And check your inbox. Check your inbox on Fringe like a maniacal demon, because maybe you checked it at 7, and then at 7:15 somebody wrote to you and said they wanted to come review your show, but you were like, no one wrote to me. Good night, world. And then the next day you see it hours before your show, and you're like, oh no. So really check that inbox. I believe it's at the bottom of the webpage now.
There's the little mail icon. Definitely
Blink and you could miss it, but really be on it and set a reminder on your phone to click it a lot, because they might message you to be like, I'd like comps to your show.
And Lois, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to enable messaging, right? Because I had a problem where I was not enabled, and I missed a lot of messages.
Because you were not the participant.
Oh.
You were not an active participant.
You won't have that
So
problem.
that's how we keep you from getting a bunch of spam, everyone, is that you have to be on a project or be press or be industry somewhere on our site as a recognizable human who should be messaging other people. That is how you end up not getting bot mail all the time, like I do.
Yeah, I think I hear you on like the calls and voicemails thing. It's just we're all in emails. It's email. That's the way to go for professional contacts like that. So, ChatGPT is a great resource to to draft emails. I literally do it all the time. All right, I say what I need to say, and then it does it. What? Canva.
On brand, Kevin.
Today's presented by
We want
ChatGPT and Canva. All right. No, but if you need help with the emails, like it is a resource there. You can be like, draft me an email that asks for this, and also come to the press events, right? Because that's where the press is, where you can meet them, tell them about your show, get them coming. In the past, I have hired a publicist, and they helped a lot. I got like 4 reviews from it. And it helped. I know we have some publicists somewhere in this room that may be able to impart some wisdom on you, So that's my recommendation.
I would only add, don't underestimate the power of a well-written press release. Truly, truly have a press release. Make sure you get a good one written, or if you need to write it yourself, because it gives all of that pertinent information for the show. All of your shows will easily be republished on BroadwayWorld.com. I guarantee it. Just submit it to them, and they will at least push it out there, and it will get into some mass email for you. There's also, I believe, on the Fringe page, there's a press release tab, right?
Yes.
Still, yeah. So don't underestimate the power of a press release. And then for reviews specifically, know the person that you want to review your show. Know what they write about, and know like how they write about it. Like if you are doing an immersive show, like there's a bunch of immersive reviewers, find the ones that write about the shows that are like yours, or that that are kind of like yours. Get their email address, email them directly, invite them to the show. That's a really, really good way to do it. It is. When I first started doing Fringe, some of the larger, like LA Weekly, used to still do theater reviews. I don't think they do anymore. They haven't for a while. Yeah, Stage Raw is another one. But definitely, put some time into that press release, and then find the person that you want to review your show and get to know them. So when you write them, you can be more personable and not so generic.
I'm going to piggyback off that really quick. And this is something I learned at a marketing panel just like this years ago. But like, think outside of the box. Just like the press in theater is not stellar. Y'all, welcome to LA. It's just not great. So is your show, is it about food? Reach out to food blogs. Is it about reach out to the community that writes about things that are not theater specific, and find your audience that way as well.
Matthew Quinn. I'm with Theatre Asylum, also here with Berta Rodriguez. We also provide a lot of extra marketing and publicity. You can check out our website, Theatre Asylum, or combinedartform.com. And thank you guys for always come to these. There's always so much new, excellent information. So thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody has these same photos. I came from the film and TV world. In the theater, everyone has these same photos of themselves, like in front of like a blue background, and so the photos in the theater world are so different. Like I went to fine art school with like military fine artists. So every theater photo that everyone takes is like them against like blue, and they're like, so do you have to publish a photo that is taken in the theater of you performing your show?
I didn't. I had a comedy photographer that has like a specific lighting, and that's his signature look, you know. So I got my photos done by him a long time ago, even before I did Fringe, and then I put it on my Adobe thing. What were you gonna say? You have your press.
Yeah, I've never done like a blue photo shoot. I think that the good thing is just to hire a photographer that like is gonna come in. You're gonna go through. It's almost like doing a tech rehearsal where you're like, okay, in this look, we're like here, you know, and then you just create the sort of picture book of your show in a photo shoot, and then you grab those and use those for marketing.
There's no specific way to do photos. You can do anything you want. Let's get to a couple more questions just because we have a few more minutes. I'm going to go over here since I haven't gone to the side of the room.
And while we're doing that, I have
speed.
one more thing to add. If you are going to have reviewers come and you're putting the time into putting a press release together, try to put together a press kit too. So get pictures that you can provide them that are ready to go. So when they publish something, there's pictures that exist already. There's a lot of work that goes into that. We call them EPKs, electronic press kits nowadays. But just keep that in the back of your mind.
And let's say you didn't create a press release and a person that wrote about your show is asking you to turn it in 3 hours because that's when their article is due. You can very quickly Google it and stay up and create a press release. Just in case there's a lot that you're like, oh my God, I have to do this, this, and this. You know, sometimes don't make it until the person's asking for it, and then you'll stay up and do it. And the same with that EPK. I just had my audience take photos for me and videos, and then I built up all of my materials that I have that way. Yeah, make an easy hashtag. Easy. Dave Haverty said make an easy hashtag for your show, and I agree.
Okay. Hi, I'm Sam. My solo show is Sam. And it's I'm actually going to do my little pitch. It's an existential comedy show about my pre-successful career in Hollywood. It is a musical for fans of Bo Burnham, La La Land, and Schmigadoon is the vibe.
All right.
Thank you so much. Wow. I was so nervous to do that. Thank you. So my question is actually about it's inspired by the artist fund actually that Fringe did, because I know a lot of young poor people and a lot of old rich people, and I'm trying to bridge the gap for ticket sales and find a way for the old rich people to pay for the young poor people's tickets. I don't know exactly what that means, but I was wondering if anyone had any tips, because I know like we were selling tickets that were maybe higher than the price, but as far as like people buying tickets or like donating tickets, if anyone had any tips about that then maybe like the production could then distribute to people in need, like low income, that kind of thing. So I want to see if anyone had any tips.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great idea. I've never done a sort of campaign for that. But I've had people be like, "Hey, here's like $100. Give free tickets to whoever can't come because I love you, and that's my." But I mean, put it on social media. Be like, "Hey, I want this show to be accessible. It's important. If any of my friends and family are willing to donate, $150 to open up tickets to this demographic of people." Not only I hate to be that guy. I'm a kind person at heart, and I love to do good for the sake of doing good. But it also, when you do good, it also puts a good aura of light and attention around you, where people are like, oh, well, they did that. We should go see their show, And so, pretty. I'm gonna shut up, but you know what I'm saying.
That's a very cool idea. I have not. I like that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to add really quick from a Fringe perspective. Knowing what your messaging is going to be so important as far as the fundraising point of it. We've been running that program since 2021, and it took until now to finally okay, we have the messaging down, both who you're asking for, what they get out of it, and who it serves. that's really, really key too, to know before you start asking for money where the tickets would go. Like maybe it's for like school children, or maybe it's for like making sure you know what you're asking for. That way when you give it, you're not breaking your bond, their gift. So
Someone in one of our venues last year did a ticketing tier system. Can we still do that? Ticket levels. Okay. So someone did ticket levels where it was like $75 and she would donate like 60 of that to whatever charity she was involved with. And then she had just, other tiers of different prices. And then there was like, the $12.50 ticket, what was the actual price, right? So you could do something like that where you have tiers. You would just have to keep track of it. Anytime someone bought the like give to an artist tier, you would have to take a ticket off sale, but that's possible.
Well, and I will say, like that could end up like you end up raising more money than you're able to give out, because remember, there's no control on timing on that. Like it's almost easier to go with third party on that and then put that money into like, okay, now I'm comping this many tickets. Whereas like the price level on your last day, you could sell 10 tickets before the show starts. And then how uncomfortable you're there. A, no audience, and that's no fun as a performer. But also B, the people who probably put money into that are sitting there going, where are the tickets for the free, So.
Okay. You have a question here.
Hey everybody, my name is Elliot Evans, and we are producing Van Life, in which an unhoused queer couple has 48 hours to move their broken van before it gets impounded. My question is related to programs and physical ads. I was just wondering if any of y'all had any experience selling ad space to local businesses, and if so, what did that process look like for y'all?
I've done that. You have a relationship business, and you say, "Hey, would you like to help fund our show or our program for X amount of dollars? I'll print you in our program." Yeah, there's only going to be like 300 of them printed, maybe, but we'll make sure that we mention you. We've done the like shout outs on social media, but it really, for me, it depends on like your relationship with the business. I haven't done it for Fringe cold calling. Definitely done it with businesses that I frequent. Like we've done it with the game shop before, because we had a tabletop role-playing game musical. So we went to a couple of the game shops we went to, and I was like, "Hey, would you like to fund us and pay $50 for this little ad?" Or a bakery that I know like decided that we were going to buy cookies and give them to our audience, and so they instead of having us buy cookies, they bought an ad for our program and gave us the cookies for free. So I've done it. It's worked. I don't, unfortunately, have any tracking on how effective it was for anyone, but it helped us.
This is post Fringe Life. I perform at a dispensary now because the venue is free, unlike every other theater here. And we have, every month there's a different sponsor for the show. Not really sponsor, vendor that has their product, like a free pre-roll or free edible. And then they do shout-outs on their page and vice versa. So I'm sure that's also another angle. I'm not saying to do cannabis for the Fringe run. Talk to your venue. Yeah, I don't know. But that's another way like that you can have that kind of cross-promotional marketing. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've never personally done it, but like I would wrap that up in like a fundraising, like your budgeting, right? Like, okay, cool, I need $1,000. Reach out to a couple businesses. There's multiple strategies to do where you could, for $100, $200, you get showcased this night. If somebody's not able to give you the large amount that you need, maybe you can break it up into smaller amounts. I think for Fringe, it is a pretty large like demographic of people at Fringe. Like you could probably look online and find the numbers, but you could sell how many people are at Fringe and how many things like you can put on your poster, right? And then people can see it if that's something that you need to.
I'm going to add in here if you want an example, because it sounds like this is like sponsorship light. Like, of course, like selling an ad is definitely a smaller version, but Hollywood Fringe, if you go to our, actually it's the Supportal, go to support Hollywood Fringe, and then our sponsorship deck and all of that information is there. Please view it. Two key things to note is we are a 501c3, so the language is going to be very specific as a nonprofit. And then two, what was my second point? Oh, the audience. Just because you don't want to lie, again, it's the same kind of thing as donors to sponsors too. Your audience is like the Fringe community, but not like our audience is the full Fringe community. Yours is going to be more specific to your show. Only, again, kind of like the artist fund, you don't want your sponsor to come and say, I thought you promised me 50,000 people. This is 50, you know, so just be like, the honesty is better because you do still have something to offer. Remember that. And it'll help you, I think, kind of also learn your pitch. If you kind of put together a sponsorship deck in general, it'll let you know what you are, what you have to offer, and who potentially would benefit from that. Find those win-win relationships.
Yeah.
Okay. We're kind of out of time, and I know there are still questions, so we're going to hang out here. If anyone has any other questions, we're here. At least Lois and I are here to answer some questions just for a few minutes before we wrap up. So if you have to go, feel free to go, but otherwise we'll be here. If you have specific questions, email support@hollywoodfringe.org, and our new artist services coordinator is on the other side of that email and is very, very helpful. So hi to Roddy and send him any questions you have, and we'll all be here to help you. So thank you for coming. Bye.